Today, we are rounding up our best ball portfolio on all sites. Primarily, we're going to talk about underdog today, but this should be a lot of fun. Weeks 1 through 5 are done. Obviously, we're one game into week 6, but yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. We should probably do this every five or so weeks. We might talk about it and then obviously a recap at the end of the season with some advice. So, yeah, let's get right into it. As always, we are still working on our sub goal. 27 out of 50, making some progress, obviously one step at a time. But yeah, should be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to this. I've been trying to work on a little bit, trying to figure out how I want to do this roundup. I think I'm going to start with drafters and DraftKings, and then I'm going to hop over into underdog, and we'll talk about that for the rest of the live stream. So yeah, without further ado, hope everyone is doing good. Let's just hop into it, honestly. So yeah, a few things, a little bit of table setting is I played a decent amount of volume. I think this is the most I've ever played, but I don't play a ton on any site, on like all sites. But this season I did diverse and play a lot on DraftKings and drafters and underdog. So definitely it's different because every site is different in the way they play and like the amount of rounds they have. So it definitely changes the dynamic a bit. But it didn't change my player takes per se and like the way I wanted to play. But very, very fun stuff. But yeah, I ended up doing about 6 high stakes teams, which I know high stakes is different for everyone. For me, it's nothing crazy. Like I'm not a huge bankroll player. High stakes for me is around $50 over. Obviously, one BBM entry is 25. So like I said, it's not that much different, but $50 for one entry is higher stakes for me. I know other people agree, some people disagree, whatever. But yeah, I did 6 teams. I did 2 on DraftKings and 4 on Underdog. I got 3 of those total advancing. Both of my DraftKings teams are advancing, and then my 4 on Underdog, I have 1 going through, and the other 3 are honestly really bad. So I don't know what happened when I was doing the high stakes drafts, but I do have 1 team that feels pretty live to make some noise. So I feel good about that. But yeah, I mean, without further ado, let's just get into the actual review. I'm going to start on drafters and talk about a few of my teams on there, and then we'll move forward with some of the other squads I have. So yeah, let me just go into here, pull up my drafters teams. Just want to show you my 4th team and 6th. I did draft, I think I've drafted 15 teams on drafters, so nothing crazy there in terms of volume. Yeah, let me pull that up for you guys here. Just a second. Pull up my background, and then we'll share this screen of drafters. So here's drafters. Probably should move back to here. So pretty fun on drafters. This format specifically is a 17-week tournament, or I guess 17 weeks straight. No advancing, nothing like that, and you just at the end you see how good your team is or how bad your team is, and you place based on that. There was a little bit of overlay. I don't remember how, but there was a bit of overlay at the end. But like I said, so it'll show you kind of like where you're at. Obviously, 950 points is taking down right now. Yeah, I mean, every week you advance, every week you go up a little bit, but there's some teams in here that look pretty fun. But it just depends. It's hard to say like how you're looking, but if you're in the mix, it's usually good, and you kind of see like what players you have, what players you don't have. Obviously, there's been a lot of landmines this year. So let's go ahead and take a look here at my teams. I have team 4 and team 6 is the ones I wanted to look over. So this is team 4 right here. It's got Herbert and Howell, so it's nice to get through my bye week. like I said, cumulative points on this site. So every week your points get added up, and you just got to be consistent and also have upside on your team. So I already got through the Herbert bye weeks, which feels good. And I got through Rashad White bye week, so I have him for the rest of the season. I also have Keenan Allen, Josh Kelly. So that's always nice to have a good couple pieces. But this team just feels pretty good. It's a 0 RB team. I got James Cook, Rashad White, Charbonnet, who's getting more work, but not really where he needs to be right now. Roschon seems like he's got a good outlook going forward. Kendre seems to be carving a role for himself slowly but surely on a kind of subpar offense. Warren is clearly the better back in that backfield, but not really much value there to be distracted. But Roschon looks like a good spot, and who knows with Fournette, and then Davis is a dead roster spot, unfortunately. So, but receivers are really strong. We got Hill, Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, Keenan Allen, Dotson. Hopefully better days for Dotson. Nico Collins looks pretty good. Rashee Rice, definitely better days for him. And same with Marvin Mims. We hope maybe Judy gets traded. Hawk and Cole Turner. Cole Turner is pretty much a 0, but I do know that Howell is targeting the tight end a lot. So if Logan Thomas ever goes down, then there's a world where he gets more work. So was it Team 6 the one I wanted to look at? Yeah, Team 6. All right, there you go. So another Herbert team. So once again, another team through the bye week. I got Bijan, Javonte. Javonte actually looked pretty good that last game. So a little bit more bullish on him going forward. We got Tua, Herbert, Bijan, Javonte, Zach Charbonnet again, Tank Bigsby, Mostert, Kelly. So no dead rush spots. Bigsby isn't really panning out the way you would have hoped, but he's there. We got Waddle, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Quentin Johnson. So I dodged the Mike Williams, hit on a few guys that look really good. Obviously, we have Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen coming off a bye. We got Mingo that looks like he's decent. Samuel's been pretty good. Hyatt has upside, and Barros is there too. So this is a pretty solid squad here. And tight ends feel really strong. Obviously, I did spend a lot of capital, but it feels nice to have 4 tight ends that are all like very usable besides Likely. But he's kind of like an upside bet if something goes wrong. So pretty fun on drafters this year. It's fun to see like okay, I'm in the top 20, I'm in the top 100, I'm gonna win this amount of money or this amount of money. But it's pretty fun to like play around on this and to see how your teams are doing. Obviously, you can't control anything just like in Bestball, but it's interesting if you get a team towards the top and just be like, all right, I just need a big game from Jalen Waddle or whatever. Those are the kind of things that you go start rooting for, and that's super fun. So definitely a team I'm excited about going forward. Obviously, any team that's gotten through the bye and still this team's still in the top 10,000 out of 85,000. So that feels pretty good. Obviously, like there's a lot of teams that have gone. I mean, there's 2 teams that got on bye, or I think 4 actually. So getting any of the quarterbacks through bye, it feels pretty good. So that's kind of why I wanted to highlight those. And the players are good. There's a couple other teams. I have a lot of Dobbins on drafters. That didn't work out, unfortunately. But that's how it is. So now I'll go to my 2 high-stake teams on DK that are advancing. These are pretty fun. But, I mean, as you can see, we got JJ on IR, unfortunately. But, I mean, otherwise, this team's pretty good. Obviously, I have a couple of dead roster spots here. But Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift feel really good rest of the season. Lamar feels great. Rashee Rice, obviously, I like a lot. Christian Watson on bye, but he's got better days ahead. We got Herbert on IR too. Got the nuts at tight end with Andrews and Laporta. And this is the type of team, like, I've talked about this a lot, like the thought process that if you have JJ on your team, obviously you shouldn't really build for this, but if you have JJ on your team, it's like, can I survive this Justin Jefferson injury? And this is a team where I feel like it definitely can. Same with the Herbert stuff. Just because Breece Hall and DeAndre Swift look pretty good rest of the season. But this Jefferson stuff is unfortunate. He's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks, it looks like, last I heard. But, I mean, I got 2 good tight ends here to help. And then I have Christian Watson, obviously there. Rashee Rice coming on late. We have Zay Flowers, looks pretty good. Gallup looks good. Samuel looks good. Reed, Tutu is a good hit. Michael Wilson plays a lot. And Slayton also looks fine. So, like, those are a ton of receivers that can definitely fill in. Obviously, they're not Justin Jefferson. We know that. But can, like, help me survive until then. Running back feels a little thin, but I do still have like enough. I got Charbonnet coming on. Swift and Hall is gonna have to carry me big time, and then Herbert comes back eventually, and then Chris Evans is kind of like a black box. But Evan Hull was kind of an unfortunate pick. Would have preferred that to be Zach Moss, but otherwise, this team has legs. Obviously, missing JJ sucks, but I think I could still advance. I think I have enough to advance. But I need Brees and Swift to be pretty awesome going forward, and then receivers need to pick up the slack. So not bad there. And then same concept here. This team is pretty strong too. Also missing Daniel Jones, also missing Mike Williams. But I think this is a Purdy Daniel Jones team, which you wouldn't think would be doing good, but Purdy's been awesome. I think he's like averaging 20-ish points a game. So I like teams like this. I wish I would have got Kittle on it, but getting like the super San Francisco stack is super valuable, especially in Bestball, where it doesn't even matter who hits. You just get whoever scores a lot of points. Like Debo scores, Ayuk scores, Kittle scores. Like you can get any of those points even if you have a CMC too. Like just a strong team. But yeah, Daniel Jones out this week. That's fine. Purdy going up against Cleveland. I have Debo and Ayuk with Mike Williams, dead roster spot. CeeDee Lamb, Bijan, Zach Charbonnet. So I think this is a 0 RB or like an anchor RB with Bijan. We got Charbonnet, Pickens, Brown, Flowers, another couple hits. I got Roshan that feels really good. Any of my Roshan teams feel good. Mostert's obviously a smash. Kendrick Miller, I think there's better days. And then I have the Evans whole combo again, which really just sucks getting that over and over again. But I got Henry, Everett, and Meyer. And Michael Mayer has been playing more recently, so that feels like there's a chance there for something good to happen. So, not my favorite teams, but two teams that are advancing as of now and at least have a chance. So, that's fun. And that first team was a $100 entry, and this one's a $54 entry. This one is like the King of the Desert contest, I believe. It doesn't really show you, but this is like a King of the Desert one, and the other one was a single entry, $100 entry. So both sick teams. But not sick, but they're alive at least, and I feel like they're good. And this one could survive the Mike Williams stuff because I have Lamb, Debo, Ayuk, Pickens, Marquise Brown, Zay Flowers. Those are all good receivers, and we have Wandale down here too. So all good teams. And let's head on over to Underdog, what we've all been waiting for. My favorite site to play on by far. Underdog is just a blast. But yeah, let's chat about these teams here. Let's see if we can. Am I going to be in the way on any of these? Let's go over here. Let's go over here. And then we'll go there. That looks fine. Okay. Just want to mess with my layout a little bit here. Sorry about this, everybody. I'm still getting better at this. Still not very good, but we're getting better. So yeah, let's just chat about these teams a little bit. So first of all, I'll just talk about my portfolio a little bit on Underdog. Let me pull up my camera here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, talk about Underdog a bit here, and okay, cool. So right now, ownership wise, I have JSN at 22%, 22.9, and this is like across all my teams Underdog, like all my main regular season teams, so not just BBM only. So I got 22.9% of him. Doesn't feel great. Charbonnet at 21.6 doesn't feel great either. Bateman at 20% also feels bad. We got 17% Laporta, which I'm excited about, of course. Rashid Rice 15%. I feel good about that too. 14.3% Achane feels good. Obviously, it's like sucks he's gonna be gone, but like he's already paid off his draft capital, and then obviously he should come back later in the season. So that's always a good feeling. Dobbins 11.3%. Obviously, it's a dead roster spot. Got Chubb at 9.5%, dead roster spot as well. So it definitely wasn't under the field to them. So that just gives you kind of an outlook on my portfolio a bit more. We got Alec Pierce at 12%. This is one like I kind of was disappointed in myself about. Just because I like Josh Downs more, but I kind of like got spooked off of him and just like, oh, you know what, Alec Pierce is safe. Like I'll take him, and it's just like that has not been the case. I have a little bit of Josh Downs, but not nearly enough. And I wish I would have split the exposures down the middle a bit more. I mean, I still would have been taking Pierce, but like at least like 7% instead of like 11-3, that kind of thing. So not really ideal in terms of the Alec Pierce stuff. He's not dead by any means, but you know, his better days with Minshew. But Puka Nacua, basically like 0% with him. I have like 1%, and I don't have a single BBM team with him, so that's unfortunate to say the least. But you know, it's not bad otherwise. I feel okay about my stuff. You know, I just wish I was taking a ton of like Tutu on all sites, and I just like if I was willing to take Tutu, there's no reason I shouldn't be willing to take Puka as well. So I wish I got a bit of both, which they're both hits, but obviously Puka's been an extremely amazing pick so far. Kyron, I basically took 0 of. I was like, man, this guy isn't very good at football, and I just didn't take him, and that was a leak in my game because I knew he was going to get work. I was taking other more thin options. You know, I was taking Malik Davis, taking other people that didn't even pan out, and obviously I could have been taking Kyron. So another leak in my game. Obviously, in hindsight, I can say this, but just from a process standpoint, like I should have, since I was taking Tutu, I definitely should have been taking Puka. And, you know, I was taking a ton of running backs late. It's like, you might as well spread it out. I mean, you could feel good, like, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a ton of, I don't know, I'm going to take a ton of Keontae Ingram for whatever reason, right? That's fine. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But if you're taking those kind of guys, you should probably be taking shots on a Kyron Williams or a Zach Moss, or, you know, there's a ton of guys down here. You know, Ty J. Spears, Kenneth Gainwell, Gus Edwards, tons of guys down here that you just got to take shots on. Obviously, they're not all going to pan out, but it's just, you know, spread your shares a bit more. So that was one thing I was a little bit disappointed in myself about. What's up, Christopher? So the huge edge I tried to give everyone, the number one starters only repeated in 25 years, 25% of the time. They get in their 50%, quarterback gets hurt, 24% they fail, and just two factors of many. Yeah, that has worked out this year. Obviously, I wasn't predicting a JJ injury, but it happened. So if you have Chase, if you have Hill, if you have Cup, even Cup has been injured, but if you have any of those guys, I feel pretty good about that. Obviously, JJ did some good work early, but you're going to need a very strong team around him to make it through. Tyreek Hill, Michael Thomas, Cooper Kupp, just Jefferson. I don't think I'd ever be like fading the first guy, you know, like again. But if you want to like go underweight to them, I think that's probably pretty sharp. If you feel good about that, but them not repeating makes sense. I mean, it's hard to be the top of the league for a while at one position, you know, unless you're Christian McCaffrey. But like, there's tons of worlds where the number one wide receiver could end up repeating again. But at this point, you're kind of like, if you're taking Jefferson, Kupp, Chase, Diggs, like you just want them to stay up there. You don't want them to get hurt, which obviously happened to a couple of them, but like you just want them to stay up in the top 5. Like, give me the points I need at this position. That's what I want. Like, you don't have to be, if I pick you at 5, you don't have to be number 1. If I pick you at 3, you don't have to be number 1. But obviously there's been injuries that, you know, Kupp injuries hurt. He's back. Jefferson injury is going to hurt really bad. Chase has been like basically not useful other than like 2 weeks now, but obviously Chase going forward is going to be pretty awesome. Tyreek's been amazing all year. So, and I mean, Diggs is too. So just pick another receiver to have a shot at the number 1 guy. I think it makes sense. I mean, I think there's some leaks in that process. I mean, 40% of the time is obviously a lot, but it doesn't mean it's going to continue to happen. But I mean, it did this year. So, these are first round picks. Had to be a horrible bad bet. Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the first round picks, I mean, there's already you can't be like, oh, I'm going to pick around the bad play. Like JJ's gotten hurt. Kupp's been hurt. Kupp and JJ missing at least 4 games, both of them. Eckler's missed like 3 games. And then obviously the rest of these guys have been fine. So that's 3 out. That's like 1/4 of the first round picks that have been kind of a detriment to your team going forward here. So obviously Eckler's healthy now. Kupp's healthy now. JJ is probably the worst one right at this point, but you know, a lot of season left. Devonta Adams has had like 1 good week. So it just depends. I just don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that that's how it's going to work, which I think is fair to say. But good points all around for sure. You were talking about that. I remember not saying pick last year's winner, not just saying not to pick last year's winners or best year winners. Yeah. Good points though. There you go. But yeah, let's move forward here. I think another lesson I've learned is kind of just like when you're going heavy on a player, I think it's good to go heavy on a player, but you just need to like think about it a bit and be smart about it. Cause like if you're going heavy on a guy, like, I don't know, let's say you love, let's say you love Amari Cooper and you go 80% Amari Cooper. Does that mean it's going to work out? I don't know. It could. You could easily get 80% Amari. Like, obviously, you can't get 80% Jamar Chase. That's not possible. Unless you're just, like, extremely lucky or you do, like, 2 drafts total. But you can get 80% Amari Cooper just by reaching for them in the second round every time you want them. That's good. And if you really like Amari Cooper and he hits, that's great. But it's like, how... And it's no, I shouldn't say you shouldn't do that. But if you are going to do it, you have to understand the risk you're taking on. And he's not going to, like, you know, if he gets hurt, you're not dead. You know, you're still alive. You're fine. But if you think about it, I take 80% of Amari Cooper and he gets hurt or he doesn't do great this year. 80% of my teams that I take, which obviously are going to have him on that. Am I okay with that being a failure for me? Is that okay with me? Because you know that's going to lower your advance rate. It's going to lower everything for you. So my thought process is like, you can obviously go overweight to players you like. Like if you really like DJ Moore, take 20% of him. Take 25% of DJ Moore. That's cool. But you know, this is assuming you're doing like 50 to 100 drafts or 100 plus drafts. If you're doing just 10 drafts and you know your favorite player is Drake London, just take him every time. Who cares? You know, have fun with it. I'm just talking about like over a portfolio type of thing, which is what I play with now. But I think it makes sense to kind of spread it around. And if you want, like, if this is the kind of guy, like, okay, I want to go 70% on a guy, I'm going to go 70% on Richie James. I think he's going to be the Chiefs guy you want. I'm going to take 80% Richie James. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I'm still fine. Like, it doesn't change that much. You could still win the tournament. You're still in good shape, right? Whereas, like, a third or second round Amari Cooper not doing good this year or getting hurt could literally destroy your whole season in terms of like a portfolio perspective and like everything like that. But like these guys down here, they affect your season. Could be extremely positive way. Could be extreme and like pretty much it can only help you, and then they can probably hurt you a bit. Like that's about it. There's a small risk, high reward if something works out. So if you go 80% Trey Lance, obviously you're not happy about it, but you're not dead. Your teams are fine. You still have other players around them, right? So that's the way I see it. Obviously, you know, if you're taking like last year, if you took 100% of X player that went off, let's just say you took 100% Kenneth Walker, you'd probably be pretty happy. Does that mean that's how it's going to work every time? I mean, but the thing is, he was like an 8th round pick, so you could justify like going heavier on him. But like any of these 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round, first round picks, those are the guys that just can't see a path where like the right play is to go like 80% of a guy. It just doesn't feel right, you know. That's the way I see it in like a big portfolio, that is. But I digress. I'm not gonna, no. It's obviously anyone's portfolio can do whatever you want. That's just like from my perspective and my experience, I feel like that is a smart way to play. Because you know, if you have 20% of Terry McLaurin, you love him, and he gets hurt for the whole season, you're like, okay, that sucks for 20% of my teams, but I feel great about everything else. You know, and I think you shouldn't be like smooth exposure. Like I only want 8% of every guy, and I don't want to take anyone more than 8%. But like there's a lot of guys where going overweight, underweight on them to be very valuable. Could help you win. So I think you should have player takes. I think it's okay to have a player take, but when you're going to the point where like, okay, I'm taking 90% of this one player, it's like, man, in the first 4 rounds, like, man, it really, really could crater your season. But I mean, obviously, if you're okay with that, you're like, okay, my whole season depends on DK Metcalf going off, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. Go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just saying, from my perspective and what I want to do, I think it makes sense. And my goal is like ROI, and trying to. I want to have fun with this because I pick players I like. I like Breece Hall. I love him. Love taking a lot of Breece Hall. Like I like picking players I like. I like it. It's fun. Fantasy football's fun. It's supposed to be fun. But also, I want to win. I want to make profit. That's important to me too. But ultimately, have fun with it too. Don't take it too seriously. But obviously, it's a portfolio of X amount of money that you want to earn on. So understand it either way. Seems like being massively overweight and getting slightly lucky, avoiding injuries, and massive advantage. Maybe overweight if you draft less than 70 drafts. I was that over 70. Nicholas, that approach, drafted less teams, so I drafted the overweight approach. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you're drafting less teams and you just want to go in on the guys you like, then just freaking do it. That makes sense to me. So let's hop into this. I'll talk about this high stakes team. Obviously, high stakes could be up for whatever debate you want to talk about. This is a $50 team. Let me see something real quick. Okay. Yeah, I got like 20 minutes. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, I'll probably go for another 20 minutes, and then I'll be doing some build and battle later tonight. Just make sure I can check this here. All right, sorry about that. Let's take a look here. I have 20% McCaffrey, 50% with 2 players. Yeah, that's good. McCaffrey, Bijan, 25% each feels very, very good. I know you like Josh Palmer too, so I'd feel pretty good about Josh Palmer stuff. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't feel like ecstatic about it, but I mean, best case scenarios turned out for you already, so that feels good. All right, so I want to go ahead and I wanted to do something here on DK real quick. Just trying to enter my contest for tomorrow. Sorry about that. I want to make sure I'm getting into the stuff I want. 78% Palmer. Great. That's sick. That's sick. How many, well, I mean, you have to tell me how many BBMs did you do? Did you do like a lot of BBMs? Did you max? Or you didn't? Oh, you drafted less teams. Did you draft like a bunch last year and just wanted to do less this year? Didn't mean to go that high, but it will. Hey, sometimes it works out that way. That's the way there's been situations like that for me where like I went too high on a guy and I'm not happy about it, or I went too low on a guy and I'm not happy about it. But all these things are easy to say with hindsight, right? So. All right. All right, let me pull my notes again. A couple leaks in my game that I had this year was I really wanted to take more. I'll talk about these teams here in a second. So just player tech guy for sure. That's good. I always draft less, 70 or less. Okay. Well, you said less, as in like you did less than you did last year. Last year I definitely did over 100, but I didn't do too much in BBM. I think I did like 40. I think I might have gotten to 50 entries in BBM. I did less than that this year, so. this is my highest volume year by far, which I've been trying to like raise it up every year, and we'll see what happens this year. I've been doing okay. I've do better in the playoff stuff recently, but we'll see how this year goes. Obviously, every year is a new opportunity for it. So, and of course, do other sites and stuff like that. All right, so I'll go ahead and enter this now. All right, so I got about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and finish this up here. And I'll be on with Build and Battle here in about an hour or two. Change the song. Let's just let's get into this. There you go. What other guys were you high on, Christopher? Yeah, so one leak in my game this year was towards the end of the year, I've realized I was like, man, I really want more David Montgomery. And I was like, I don't know why I wasn't taking more of them. Because it makes tons of sense on this site. Like David Montgomery going in like the 8th round, 9th round, maybe even later sometimes. And I'm like, man, dude, like, what should I do? Like, I just don't really like my exposure on him. And I like started to hammer him towards the end, like on all sites, trying to grab more of him. But ultimately, it ended up being a leak because I didn't want to not have him. I just was like, I'm going to take him after ADP only. It just didn't turn out that way a lot. And I liked Gibbs too at cost even, and that doesn't seem to be correct either. But definitely a thing just like to think about. Like if you're looking at your exposures and you're like, man, why do I have 2% David Montgomery? Like that shouldn't be the case. And then you're like, okay, so I need to start taking him now before the end of the season and try to like fix that. Because you can always kind of get more of a player if you want. You just got to, reach on them a little bit if you have to, maybe wait for the ADP to fall your way. But I have some exposure to him, but it's really not enough because on a half-point PPR site, getting more touchdown upside with Montgomery, maybe he's better than Jamal Williams in my opinion, and he's turning out to be an absolute smash pick. Like I said, I think Gibbs will still have his days, but right now they want to run their offense through Montgomery and like Laporta and Amon-Ra. So in my eyes, definitely a leak in my game, and that's hindsight, like not even just hindsight, because I wanted to get more of him before the season started. Like right now, I wish I had more, of course, but I still wanted more even before the season started, and I regret that for sure now. But it is what it is. I'm not like underexposed. I'm not like It's not like I have no exposure to him, and I'm not really extremely concerned about him like blowing up in the playoffs. He could, but I'm more concerned about just like getting his weeks. Like he has tons of weeks that have been just extremely usable at like a really thin running back position. So it is what it is. Not the end of the world. Just wish I would have done a little bit more of him. That happened a few times. Another thing that I kind of did towards the end is like I wanted to get more Tampa Bay stacks. So I grabbed some Baker stacks with Evans and Godwin and Trey Palmer and Otton and Rachaad White, and those all look really good. And they just got through their bye week, and obviously the Bucs may not be a great team, but they've been much better than expected. Baker Mayfield was going undrafted a lot, so this is another fun team. Same with like last year, like Seattle. No one was taking Geno Smith. He ended up being a huge hit. Pretty much the same type of range, like Evans, Godwin going a little later in drafts. Grab their quarterback late, undrafted, and that feels pretty good. So, couple things like I definitely didn't get enough of the Evans Godwin stuff, but I got more of that than the Montgomery, so I feel a little bit better about my decisions with that. So, but two things I noticed late in the season that I wanted to fix, and I wish I would have like checked earlier, like 4 weeks, maybe a month before season. I noticed like, man, I got to start hammering Montgomery, start hammering these Bucs guys so I can get more exposure. I did 60 last year, but I tried something risky that went horrible. Complete dud season, learned my lesson, and went back to my cup season approach. Do you have a lot of Pirine and Jamal Williams? That really sucks. Yeah, I didn't take much Jamal. Just wasn't on him. Didn't think he was that good. Obviously, Kamara, a lot of the injury sucks. He might come back and be good, but I took my bet on Kendra in the backfield. Usually only 2 or 3 running backs can carry a team because they're consistent when they're running hot. Yeah. I mean, 2 running backs can carry a team if you have the right guys. Like Achane and like Kyron could carry your team for a while, and those are like 2 very late picks. But anyways, let's hop into this high stake team. $50 entry, you know, whatever you want to define it as, mid stakes, low stakes, whatever. But I'll talk about the squad a bit. It feels pretty good to get this team. I got a lot of the guys I like a ton, so like that feels good. Tight end isn't really where I want it to be, but it feels good. I got Chase Higgins. I remember drafting this one on stream, and it was a little bit of a controversy of like where I wanted to go. Like I was like thinking about going Burrow, but I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can like get the best of both worlds here. Maybe not the best decision given the fact I had Chase and Higgins, but like I feel like there's still a chance where, like right now, Chase goes off, Higgins is hurt, Chase goes off. Maybe Chase misses a couple games, Higgins goes off, or maybe, you know, they just kind of ping pong back and forth in terms of their performances. But feel fine. I feel really good about getting that DJ Moore field in the 4th and 5th, where there was some FUD going around about the DJ Moore stuff. And so I got the 4th and 5th round instead of the 3rd and 4th round. Fields, DJ Moore, so I feel good to get that on the team. Pickens and Gabe Davis, 2 more like absolute really good hits this year. So that feels really good. So this team is in first, by the way, by a good amount. I think like 70 points, I think, but obviously need it to continue. Feel better. My Bengals stuff feels better, so that's great. I have Justin Fields. I think I have a pretty heavy Chicago stack here. So we got Zach Charbonnet. I'll just go over the team real quick just in case I upload this audio version, which I might. So we'll have Chase T. Higgins in the 1st and 2nd round. We got Breece Hall in the 3rd. Obviously not his lowest price he was, but that's where he was going around this time. DJ Moore in the 4th round at pick 47, and we got Justin Fields at pick 50 right after that. So we got the Fields DJ Moore stack with 2 Bears Bengals pieces, which I mean right now it's been good. Obviously Fields could fall off, Burrow pushes up, then I might be regretting going Fields, but you know, since I got DJ Moore, it makes sense I grabbed Fields here. So George Pickens, Gabe Davis, Zach Charbonnet, and David Njoku. Khalil Herbert obviously on IR, that stinks. Wish I had Roshan. Darnell Mooney looks like he's okay, not a great pick. Cole Kmet's been a great pick. Marvin Mims is there, obviously has a lot of potential. This is like 2 really great running back hits here, Jerome Ford and Chuba Hubbard, to go with Breece Hall. So that's good. Got 3 like solid running backs that obviously Chuba's going to have more work this week. Jerome Ford should have a lot of work every week. So it feels good there. Obviously Richie James pretty much like a dead roster spot. But other than that, this team's pretty strong. I got Howell unstacked, which is not been bad just because Howell's been fine. So Jay McBride, I wish that was a different tight end as well. But you know, can't complain too much. This team's pretty fun. Really happy with the receivers I got. Like I hit on every receiver other than Richie James. Like I don't know if I'll call Mooney a hit. Mooney feels fine. But George Pickens, Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, Higgins, and Chase, that's pretty good. So this is pretty much my only high stake team on Underdog that I'm like cared about right now, because I don't think the other ones, like one of them has Rodgers on it. I think another one has Dobbins and a couple other guys. So like I'm not really concerned about those. And I don't know. I just like forgot how to build teams whenever I went into like high stakes. I don't know why. Maybe I just like overthought it, but I don't know. This team's pretty fun. I did it on stream too, so excited for this team and see how it goes. Let's see, Christopher's up 2 here. I have a ton of Ken Walker. Haven't quite hit on my after round 10 receivers. That's what holding me back right now. Well, to be fair, none of the round 10 receivers have like done anything really. Chase or Higgins hitting 3 games without Burrow seems like a big asking. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I just need one of them. If both of them hit, that's fine. I just need Fields to do good, and Fields has a pretty safe floor. It might screw me in the finals, but I mean, the way I see it is like in the finals, you know, obviously very unlikely this happens, but who knows? Chase Higgins, Burrow has a good game. Chase and Higgins both go for 101. Burrow gets 30 points. Justin Fields could go for 40. I don't really know many scenarios where Burrow's going for 40, especially with his like rushing ability kind of zapped. Fields could obviously go for 10, and that would be really hurtful for me. But I kind of made a bet on both teams since I got Bengals and Bears. So unless I was taking Fields and Burrow, I'm not really concerned about it. Like obviously, in hindsight, maybe I wish I would have Chase and Ridley. I guess I think I would have took Devonta if he was here. Not really sure if I would have or not, but I think it's fine. Because I stacked the Bears. I stacked the Bengals. I don't have to take both of the quarterbacks. I just need to hope Fields is getting there for me. So I don't think it's bad. Too bad. Here's Burrow and Fields and all three. I just can't see it. That's why you don't predict the future. That's a good thing. No one knows what's going to happen, thankfully. Anytime you think of a scenario of like how it's going to get there in the finals, it's always going to feel thin unless you just have like the nuts. So it doesn't concern me at all. And I'm not saying this team like is probably an extreme dog to win, just like every team is, but it's pretty strong for a high stakes team. Getting a very strong start. Got the Chase and DJ Moore like absolute nukes last week. And I mean, this team specifically has benefited from not having Burrow. Because if I had Burrow on this team, I would probably not be advancing right now. Because Burrow's been really bad. He's really hurt your teams. So does that continue? Probably not. But just thinking about it that way, I mean, it really doesn't bother me as much. Just because my team literally would not be advancing with Burrow right now, I don't think. So obviously it seems like the Bengals are coming back up, but it feels like the Bears are revitalized. I got Howell on the bottom here, which Howell I have him unstacked, but he's at least like usable. So, but yeah, the good thing about this is like a higher stakes tournament, so it's a little bit less of a gauntlet to get through. So maybe in like the BBM final or the BBM playoffs, it's a little bit harder to get there. This is at least slightly easier, so something to hang my hat on. But either way, I'm happy about this team. I didn't get JSN here, a player I always take. A lot of people like a lot of landmines here. Got Deontay Johnson landmine, Jahan Dotson's been a landmine, Drake London's been basically a landmine, Christian Watson's been a landmine, Treylon Burks has been a landmine. I have a lot of Treylon Burks. It's been rough. So Bateman too, but yeah, fun squad. I think I took a lot of teams. I took a good amount with Chase, Higgins, Burrow. I just wanted to do something different. That's kind of part of my reason. Maybe it's suboptimal, probably is, but I think it's kind of fun just because I'm making a bet on two teams without getting both quarterbacks. Because like just if you make a bet on Miami and you make a bet on the Eagles, you don't need both quarterbacks. You can get them, but you don't have to have them. Better out of the BBM. Yeah. But like I said, I'm not trying to defend it. Like I agree it can be thin, but it's always going to be thin. It's always a thin path to the finals. That's why only like I don't even know how many teams get through on this one, like 30 maybe. So fun team though. Fun team. Let's go over to my next one. This is a team that, let's make sure I know it. This is my highest scoring BBM team. 714 and 42 points, 714.42 points. Has Mike Williams on it, so I don't know how many legs it has. But I'm right here, obviously, down this 3-hole. With CMC, Waddle, waiting for Waddle to have a big game. Lamar, Mike Williams, TJ Hawkinson, Zay Flowers, Mike Evans, Rashad Bateman, RIP, AJ Dillon, Devon Achane, RIP, Nico Collins, Derek Carr, Jawan Johnson, RIP, Jaden Reed, Shoebopper, Jerome Ford. Feels good to get these two guys back-to-back in 2 drafts. Wandale and Tutu. So Tutu feels good there. Bateman doesn't feel great, but a pretty decent team so far. Obviously, it feels pretty good if we get Achane back in the playoffs, and we have Lamar, Achane. This is a BBM team, by the way. Yeah, so 714 points. Mike Williams gone. This is a team where I feel like I could survive it. I got Jalen Waddle, I got Zay Flowers, and Mike Evans. 3 solid volume plays / people that should be, well, maybe not Waddle volume play, but those guys are all getting like good volume. Nico Collins has been a very good hit. Pretty much the only hit out of this range, like past him. Like there's been a few hits down here, but there's not much. Nico Collins has been a pretty big hit. Jaden Reed has been okay, and Tutu and Wandale, these are like viable players. Yeah, I love Waddle, and sucks losing Mike Williams, but a lot of teams lost a player so far. Like avoiding a player that like has been pretty much unusable is like almost impossible so far. Like there's been so many. Like just to go down the list, we have Chubb, out for the season. We got Dobbins out for the season. We got Mike Williams out for the season. And I'm not trying to be a downer, but just realistically, this is how it is. Injuries happen, and that's what fantasy is about. It's part of fantasy. So embrace it and enjoy what you can. Can't get too down on yourself. But I would feel good to get Brees at 50 on that team though instead. But still has a good team on that higher stake team. But DeAndre Swift, it's player also. I wish I got more of. I was taking all of the Eagles backfield, which obviously only worked out for Swift right now. I guess you could say Gainwell kind of, but Penny's been pretty much dead roster spot, and I have a lot of him. So I think I have like 10% Penny, so which is fine. There's a chance he'll play eventually if like a Swift gets hurt or something. But all in all, he's been a bad pick, like a horrendous pick. So, but yeah, this team's pretty fun. Really like getting. I have a ton of Chuba Hubbard, so I'm hoping he like plays ball this week and then takes up the backfield. That would be really awesome. Drone forward, hopefully he continues being like solid, usable. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, let's head on to the next squad here. Like I said, I'm gonna do a draft stream later, so I'm gonna wrap up this, and I'll be doing this like every 4 weeks, at like once a month or something like that, once every 2 months ish. Obviously, it'd be grinding in the playoffs. Playoffs are gonna be super fun. This is, I think, one of my worst teams in BBM. So kind of just showing like you're gonna in a big portfolio, you're gonna have tons of bad teams, and you can't don't let it phase you. Just keep trying. I mean, obviously play within your bankroll and play within your means, but it's just like embrace the variance. Like you're gonna have teams that suck like this. Like this team sucks, but that's okay. For every sucky team, I hopefully have a good team. So. And all it takes is one team to make your season, so that's all that matters. And yeah, should be fun. I'm looking forward to getting to the playoffs section. But hopefully, exposure wise, things work out for everybody. And obviously you can't, but best of luck to everyone watching. I hope you guys the best always. I want to see everyone doing good. So Bijan Robinson on this team. We got Garrett Wilson, Ramondre, Lamar. So you don't feel too bad about the start. Ramondre's been pretty bad. Garrett Wilson's been pretty bad. Lamar's been fine though. Pittman's been fine too. But then then after this it gets ugly. We got Kadarius Toney, absolute nothing. Jackson Smith-Njigba, nothing. Zay Flowers been okay. Bateman's been nothing. Charbonnet's been nothing. Chig's been nothing. Bryce Young's been nothing. Kincaid's been nothing. Mingo's been basically nothing. Chase Brown's not played. And then we got Chuba. Tillman hasn't played. And Musgrave. So it's like right after that, like 8th round spot, you're like, okay, everyone has literally done nothing for me. And my 2nd and 3rd round pick has been bad. So sucks it's on a Bijan team because I really like Bijan the rest of the season. Obviously, he hasn't hit his upside yet, but it's been like great every week. So feel good about that. And yeah, it's been interesting to look at these teams. There's just so much variance in the season. So let's take a look at some other notes I had here. Before the Chiefs game, I went ahead and calculated my advance rate in BBM. I'm at 27% advance rate. Obviously, like I said, I didn't do 150 teams. I did like less than 50, so smaller sample size, but I do have a 27% advance rate as of before the Chiefs game. Obviously, not a lot of high scorers in that game, but 27% before that. I did draft 14 teams in September in BBM, and 6 of them are advancing, so almost like a little under a 50% clip there, 45% clip. So pretty interesting that. I think it's just because I avoided dead roster spots, and I think towards the end of the season I was on a lot of players that were hits, so that's probably why. Because sometimes if you drafted over the offseason, you know how it feels when you're like, oh man, I'm getting in my groove. I'm taking a ton of Charbonnet. I'm taking a ton of this guy. I'm taking a ton of this guy. And it's like those teams all sucked. But it's like, and then other times you're taking just like the perfect combo of guys, and you're like, I keep taking these dudes, and then it's all hits. So, yeah, definitely interesting for sure. Let's take a look here. Another little piece of advice I had for myself here for next year is kind of when injury stuff happens. I did take a little bit of injury discount. I took a cup team at 18, I think. But when there's injury discounts that aren't too bad, and you're taking a big portfolio, you just got to lean into that. If you could take JT in the 4th round, take them. Like, take that combo of players that no one else is getting. Um, that might win. That might win the tournament. Like, I didn't do that. I didn't take a cup team with, like, if you hit it on the right players, you could have got Cup in round 2, Chase in round 1, or you could have had Hill in round 1, Cup in round 2, and JT in round 4. And if you did that, you could. I mean, that might win it all. I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? Like, I'd feel amazing about that. Obviously, like, you might be behind without Cup and JT, but I mean, if you hit on the right late round guys, you could be looking real good. So, just something to think about. Like, we had a McLaurin discount, we had a JSN discount. JSN hasn't panned out. Judy hasn't panned out. We had a discount of him too. So tons of discounts happen throughout the season where, like, you can get a guy like that you shouldn't really be getting there just fun, like, because, like, even if someone like has an ankle sprain, people literally will draft them. Like, you could literally be 2 months before the season starts, someone gets a low ankle sprain and they're going to get drafted less just because of the news, which is crazy to me because those things, like, I understand, like, a little bit, like, Zach Moss stuff. I didn't take Zach Moss much at all because I was like, well, he's broken arm. He might not be ready to go for a while. He came back and he's been amazing, which is crazy. But like, just think about that kind of stuff. Like, this guy's going to be hurt for like a week. He might be back and ready to go for the season. Jerry Jeudy, Jerry McLaurin, none of them have hit so far. But those are two guys that you could have got at a massive discount just for injury. And then Cooper Kupp's the guy, like, I would have named. Like, you could have got Cooper Kupp in the second round. And he's back and he looks normal. Obviously, who knows what happens, but, like, he looks normal. I would be extremely happy to get Kupp in the second round if you can have him back now, looking good. So, something I wish I leaned into a little more. I don't mean it might not. I mean, we'll see what happens in week 17. Like, who knows what's going to win? But, like, I just feel like having those teams is a huge advantage right now. So, you start off slower, but you have a very, very strong team late. My goal is to squeak as many second place teams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't really control it, but squeaking a team in is ideal because if you get a team stuck in, then you're getting, like, some lower owned guys usually. Like, oh man, how did I get a I don't know, Ramondre team in the playoffs? Like, that's sweet. Or I got a Derrick Henry team in the playoffs and he's, like, going off. I don't know. So, should be low and have a better shot at winning. Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you have the guys like a couple years ago, Mark Andrews, stuff like that, like, have all the Mark Andrews teams, like, it's good, but you're not gaining anything if he goes off. Yeah, if you have the nuts going in on every team in the finals, if you can wake up in the finals and you have a ton of low-owned guys, even if they don't feel as good, I would prefer that over having all of the big pieces. Like, oh, I have all of the huge hits. Like, I have CMC and I have Travis Etienne and I have Tyreek Hill. Well, I can't do that, but I have all the hits. I have all the good players. I have Puka, I have Kyron, I have all the hits that everyone else has. Instead, I get the Mike Evans low percent 50 bomb, and I win the tournament. So I agree completely. I think a lot of people have that set. The point is, I want to sit in third place all season this weekend. Yeah, that's fair. I agree. I love looking at those teams. Like, towards the end of the season, I'm like, okay, I just need 10 points from this player, and I could get this team squeaked in. I don't want to be in first. I want to be in first and second all season. I'd rather get more teams through. But I want both. I want my cake and eat it too. Like, I want teams that are dominating right now, and I want teams that can sneak through. I want it all. I think that's fair. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Sneaking a team through feels much better than, like, having the team that has all of the league winners on it, because all you need is one of the league winners to not go there, get there in the playoffs, and you have, like, a leverage point. So, agreed there. So this will be my last team I'm reviewing. This is my most fun team, in my opinion. This one I drafted very early in the offseason, like literally right before the schedule came out. And right after BBM opened. See, third or fourth place, I get excited. That's fair. I guess we're different in that sense. I get excited about first and second, but I like to look at the third place teams. I mean, we're at week 5 or 6 right now. We have like 11 weeks to go. So I'm not necessarily excited about anything specifically, but, like, I like looking at these teams and seeing, like, the fun stuff. which I'm sure you're the same way. It's like, man, I like this team a lot, dude. Like, this is sweet. So I understand what you're saying completely. But I know there's so much that's going to change. So I just try not to get too excited about it. Maybe that's just me being skeptical, but I'm excited for my teams that look really good right now, and I hope they continue to look good. But I know there's got some teams like that are down in the dumps right now. Like those teams in like 5th and 6th and 7th that I'm going to look at and be like, this team stinks. And then like 1 month later, I'm like, this team's awesome. So things change fast, man. It comes at you fast. But this team is pretty fun. So I kind of like leaned into a 0 receiver strategy in this, which I felt like was a pretty like massive thing you could do only early in the season. I got some ADP followers and risers on this team. Now I'll finish that way. Yeah. I think that's fair. It's nice to have the league winners, but if you have too many league winners, then you don't have as easy of a path to win. So, you just like I get one league winner on this team, one league winner on this team, spread them out, and then have like lower owned pieces on every team, like lower advancing pieces. Sorry. Yeah. So this team is like a 0 receiver team where like I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna grab as many of the rookies as I can and try to grab a ton of them. All right, try a ton of young guys on this team and try to hit like the parlay of like this player comes up with upside, this player comes up with upside, this player comes with upside. And right now it's panning out that way. It's not a perfect team. Obviously like, there's players that would be lower right now, there's players that be higher, but like this is only something you could do like when the ADPs are solidifying. And you could take advantage of some stuff like Jaden Reed going basically undrafted. I took advantage of that early on. So like you could do a 0 receiver strategy where you go heavy running backs early. But this is like a team that I felt really strong about, and I mean it's surviving. It's fine, not perfect, but it looks pretty good. So I'm excited to see how this team does. Definitely my most fun one. So I went Kelsey in the first round, something I never do. Would really rather have Cup right now on this team, but like I said, I was doing a 0 receiver team, and I don't think Cup at 4 is I don't think Kelsey at 4 is egregious, but yeah, I'd rather have Hill if I could like do it over and like, but this team wouldn't be the same if I took Hill there. So I wanted to do something weird. It's okay. It's one bullet, and this team's like looking actually pretty decent. So this team's in 3rd right now with Kelsey, so it would be like 4th, I believe. So I got Pollard and Brees, 2 players I feel pretty strongly about the rest of the season. Rashad White feels solid. I got Kendrick Miller as my other running back, which isn't perfect, but he's there, and at least he's playing snaps. So Kelsey's there. I don't have much exposure to him, but we got Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. So those are like my 2 core pieces of like, all right, I got my Keenan Allen floor every week, and that hopefully these guys can buy me time for the rest of my team. And like now, like right now, looking at it, it's like, man, these guys can blast off. We have Addison and QJ both in significantly better spots than they were at the beginning of the season. Would be getting drafted higher, slightly at least. And then Rashad Bateman, obviously, rip Rashad Bateman. I hope he does something at some point, but right now it's not great. But I think he'll have a week or 2 in the season. I just not really what I was hoping for. Hyatt, he's at least getting more snaps, so better days ahead for him. Obviously, you could have got him much later. Kendrick Miller, you could have got later. Alec Pierce, you could have got later. Like I said, I'm not getting a ton of like discounts on guys, but I'm making a combination of players that like very seldom is getting taken. So like I said, we got Alec Pierce, we got Marvin Mims and Jaden Reed before they moved up a ton. You wouldn't be able to get them here, that's for sure. In the 190s, you wouldn't be able to get either of those guys there right now, or in Resurrection, or like towards the beginning of the season, you weren't able to get them. So this team ended up, and I'll just go over the team again. So Travis Kelce, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Rashad White, Jordan Addison, QJ. Sucks having A-Rich gone, but Herbert's back. So as long as he stays healthy, A-Rich will be back at some point. So Bateman, Hyatt, Kendrick Miller, Alec Pierce. I really am set with my Alec Pierce exposure. Jonathan Mingo, Josh Downs, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed, and Trey McBride. So Trey McBride obviously isn't going to do much, but I have Kelsey, so whatever. But like, this seems fun. I don't know why I didn't take Luke Musgrave on this team. I really don't know why. I must just not have been on my radar. Oh, he was already taken, so never mind. But like, this team's fun. Like, this team's really fun. So we'll see how it goes. Like, the way I see it is like rookies are more of a late season bet. So like, this team theoretically should get better Obviously, if Bateman gets better, Alec Pierce gets slightly better, I have all these rookies that are like getting in better spots as they get past their bye weeks. So this team could make noise. Obviously, I don't really like having Kelsey as my only guy, but I mean, week 17 comes around, Kelsey drops 30. That's all I need. So, fun team, very fun team. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes. But this is my 0 receiver strategy, which I feel like is like, I don't think there's many teams that look like this. And like that was one thing I really liked about it is like I was like, I'm gonna do something weird where I'm just grabbing all the guys that are gonna move up, hopefully. And that's what I did. And I don't think you could do this at every point in the season. Like you definitely can't get this amount of rookies later in the season in the same lineup. Obviously, you could do it differently. Like you're like, all right, I'm gonna take Puka late. I'm gonna take Tutu late. I'm gonna take Trey Palmer. I'm gonna take Van Jefferson. I'm gonna take John Mechie. I'm gonna take Wandale like late. Like that works. That's fine. But you can't make a team like this later in the season just because the way the ADPs move in rookies. So pretty fun. So we'll see how it ends up. Like obviously it could have been better. Like if Rashad Bateman was something else, if Alec Pierce was something else, this team could be like really good. But feel good about my running backs, receivers. Obviously thin at running back, but all guys that are playable and usable. So yeah, super sick. I'm definitely gonna do it next year too. Like kind of look at the rookies. Like man, like maybe I'll take Marvin Harrison before he moves up a bunch. Like he's gonna be highly drafted either way, but maybe I'll get a little bit of a tiny discount on Marvin Harrison if I draft a team like right after the ADP starts. So we'll see how this one goes. Definitely gonna keep monitoring this one, and hopefully it stays up in the top 5, top 4, so I can monitor it and show you guys how it's doing. But yeah, thanks for hanging out on the Best Ball Roundup. That was a ton of fun. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. I really enjoyed this episode of Best Ball Roundup. We're gonna do it every month, probably every month or so, maybe give or take a week or two. But yeah, this has been a ton of fun. Gonna definitely do this later on. Later tonight. I'm gonna be live for probably a shorter version of Build and Battle. I'm gonna build my DFS lineup for tomorrow, and I'm going to build a underdog couple battle royale teams on underdog. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Christopher, appreciate you spending time here. Good luck this week. I'll probably see you later if you're there. If not, good luck this week and all your DFS / best ball exposures. But yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out. I had a ton of fun today. Introduced the new intro. Like I said, if you're new, make sure to sub. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure to check out the YouTube Finding Value Fantasy. Ton of fun, ton of content. Gonna bring some guests on soon. Really gonna enjoy the playoffs are gonna be big for me in terms of bringing guests on, because it should be a ton of fun to bring people on for live sweats for the best ball playoffs, or just bring people on to talk about our teams, bring people on to draft playoff teams on best ball playoff teams, or no NFL playoff teams, best ball edition. So that'll be fun either way. So either way, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later tonight with Build and Battle. I'll see you guys later. Peace.